The new Qwen3 vision language model has a feature where it can look at an image and actually vibe code based on the image that it sees. Let's test it out by trying to build an Android app. Because sometimes AIs generate better prompts for other AIs, I asked Grok to give me an image generation prompt that I could then feed into ChatGPT, which I did, and it came up with this image. So here's the sketch of a front end for an expense tracker app. I then put that picture into Qwen3-VL, and I told it code an Android app based on this image with instructions how to install it. I've never coded an Android app before. We're kind of seeing if we can vibe code this from zero. So it gave me the instructions on what tools to use to put the code into to run it. It generated code, and then I made sure to check the notes at the bottom at the end of its generation. And it said it's just a front end demo of what the app would look like and not the actual functionality. It also mentioned that it highlighted the 20th of the month. Now, if you look at this, you can see that the 20th of the month has a highlight on it based on what ChatGPT did. Interestingly, Qwen3-VL took that to heart and actually coded the front end of the app to have the 20th highlighted, which technically is not a mistake because I told it to write code based on the image and it was following instructions. So when it asked me if I want to make it a functional app, I said, yes, make it a functional app and make the 20th not highlighted. So it generated more code that's supposed to work, which we'll test in a minute, and it followed up with the instructions on how to run it. So let's go and get Android Studio and see if we can just plop this code in and test it. I have no idea how to use this program. I'm just going to download it and grip it and rip it. So let's click on this download Android Studio Narwhal 3 feature drop, terms and conditions. I don't know if I'm just downloading the Narwhal feature or if this is the whole program. I don't know, we'll find out. Okay, we're getting the app installed now. Android Studio and Android Virtual Device. Qwen had told me that you need the virtual device for testing because you have to kind of simulate the Android environment. This wizard will help you set up your development environment. Here's the type of setup you want for Android Studio. Let's do standard. Don't have a reason to do custom. We'll just blast through this and accept the human Sentai pad or whatever it is. All right, it looks like the install finished and it says Android Virtual Device was successfully created. We'll do a new project. Let's see what Qwen said as far as instructions go, how to operate this. I mean, I've made apps in Python and PowerShell before, and I've made desktop apps, and I've made websites, and I've made web apps. I just haven't really done anything on an Android phone before. When I issued the correction, it's telling me to replace code and to update code, but I'm trying to do this in a more efficient way than that. So I'm going to instruct it to just rewrite the program and not ask me to have to put code with previous code. Now I've prompted it to, instead of instructing me to merge code together, merge everything yourself into code I can copy and paste without having to search around and merge or add manually. Now the thing is, when I told this thing to code the app, it said, here's a demo of what the app would look like and it's not functional. I'm not really sure if that's a pass or a fail. I never told it to only make a visual demo. I said to code an app. So we might actually have discovered one problem here unless you look at it a different way. I never told it not to make a demo either. Template, empty compose activity, which we did. Name expense tracker, package name, com.example.expense tracker. So let's copy and paste that in. Oh, I see, it automatically fills in the words for the package name. That's pretty cool. API 24, Android 7.0, and Kotlin. There we go. That's all the settings that it told us to use. So our environment is up. And it looks like on the left under project, it's already created some structure in the files and folders. Again, I have not coded an Android app before, so I have no idea. So now we have to copy and paste this entire block into main activity.kt. So we'll copy it, we'll go over here, and it looks like it already made a main activity.kt file, which I'm guessing is some standard thing in this language. We'll just paste it in. All right, so there's build.gradle, and it says to add that inside of dependencies, but there's no dependencies inside of build.gradle. I don't know if it's hallucinating or if there's something I'm missing. Let's ask it. When you say open app build.gradle and inside dependencies add, what do you mean inside dependencies? I don't see anything called dependencies in that file. So I'm going to tell it again. As I said, there's nothing called dependencies in that file. Please stop generating code you did not ask for. So I think we're still having some confusion here. So I'm going to tell it, again, stop generating code. Again, there's nothing called dependencies in that file. Giving me another 450 lines of code is not going to help me find where to paste. You're getting ahead of me. Stop flooding this conversation. I'll even tell it, here's the current content of build.gradle, so it understands there's nothing called dependencies in there. Oh, so now it just gave me a zip file to unzip and just put in that directory. Why didn't it just tell me to do that in the first place? Looks like it tried to put the expense tracker stuff in Dropbox, and then it says that isn't quite right. So I'll tell it. That Dropbox link you gave me didn't work. Just provide me with the code to paste into build.gradle. Do not give me code to append. Just give me all of the code for that file. Okay, now it's finally given me the full code to paste into build.gradle. So there's our build.gradle code, and we have errors, unexpected tokens. So I'm just gonna stop here, and it completely failed the vibe code and app. I was looking to see if it could be done in one shot. That didn't work. See if it could be done in 2 shots. It got confused and gave me more wrong instructions and got way ahead of itself, as AIs tend to do when you ask for error correction. And then it gave me code that generated 85 errors. So we're gonna call it quits here, and Qwen3-VL has failed miserably to vibe code an Android app. This is why I'm coding VectroChat very slowly. Thanks to AI, I am learning code a lot better than I did in the past when I struggled to learn it at the few times that I tried. Before AI could generate code, and before AI could be prompted to be a teacher to instruct how to code, I had already kind of learned the ABCs of it. Now for VectroChat, I'm learning to code as I develop it. I'm not just gonna vibe code it and put some slop out there. This is going to be one of the problems in software that's coming around the corner. I'm taking the time to learn what the code does and to actually learn what I'm doing and why. And I'm also analyzing my own code for problems. If you're going to get into something like this, you should mix vibe coding with what I call vibe learning. And once the AI generates code, you can actually have it step by step teach you what the blocks do. I would recommend you kind of learn the ABCs, what are loops, what are variables, the general structure of how a programming language works first, then vibe code, then have the AI teach you what the code does. That way you can troubleshoot bugs yourself instead of just getting wrapped up for hours trying to vibe debug. My vibe coding looks like this. Here's the front end of the stuff that I'm working on for VectroChat. Over here is the authentication for the login and the database of the users and stuff. But then over here, I told it to do a breakdown. I just started copying and pasting chunks of the code one by one and teach me what it does. What's this line? What are these lines for? And it'll tell me. These lines prepare the credentials and endpoint URL, retrieves the value of the environment variables, assigns it to the variable, used securely to load the API without hard coding. Fortunately, I already know what some of these terms are before AI became so ubiquitous and before I started vibe coding. So it helps to go and learn some of the terminology and the lingo and the basic structure of a programming language. Vibe code, then just start copying and pasting lines and blocks into here and have it teach you what it does. Qwen3-VL didn't do that great at generating an Android app, but we don't know how much training it had on that type of code. Perhaps if we had done a Python program or a PHP or a C program, it would have done better. It just kind of depends on how well trained it is on those languages. In this particular case, we're going to say this particular test is a fail, but who knows? Qwen is very known for generating good code, so I'm not taking credit away from them for that. They have a coding model. They have a big model called Qwen Max, and they have this multimodal one, Qwen3-VL. So I think it would take a lot more testing to draw any big conclusions. This was just one test. If you found some value in this video, please click the like button. If you want to see me test AI models and give tutorials about how to run AI programs on your own computer or in the cloud, hit the subscribe button. If you want to be notified when I make a new video, hit the notification bell. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next one.